Yeah. Okay. So thank you everyone who joined. Yeah, and happy to see you, and happy to see everyone who will watch, I hope, this in recording. So today I wanted to talk a bit about NXSL and improvements that we plan to have. Let me share my screen. Okay. Yeah. So let's open script editor. So recently we have started some adjustments with NXSL to make it more unified and easy to use. And I think as many people noticed that starting from 4.0 version of NetXMS, we have changed that println and print now are only available as a functions. So before you were able to print text like this. Currently it's like starting from 4.0, it's not compiling, so it's only available as a function, print and println. Another thing that have changed in 4.0 that is worth to mention, it's single quoted text. So, for example, if before your text was something like this, and then something, and there was some quotation. So yeah, this one won't compile because you were required to escape all backslash symbols and quotes, and it was required to look like this. So now it's printed okay. So starting from 4.0, you are able to use single quoted text, which does not require any escaping. So the same line will look like this. Another thing that was done is multi-line text. So it's currently possible to write something like this. Sorry. So compile it, yes, and let's print it. So yeah, here we have multi-line text. So it's the stuff that was introduced in 4.0. And starting from 4.3, we have some more improvements, especially with the strings. So we have introduced formatted string. So if we, for example, have some result that we want to print in the formatted form, you can write something like print, and then we say that further we have formatted string with F, and we say that the result is result. If we will execute it, oh, okay, let's make the new line here. So you can see that in this case, the formatted string was processed like everything that inside of curly braces is replaced by evaluation of this expression. So, and furthermore, there can be any expression. For example, we can make a function. Okay. And we can write here a function 2 and 3. And here you can see that this expression was evaluated and function was called and return value. So this part is replaced with a string representation of the evaluation of this expression. One more update that is done more for the further changes is string concatenation. So let's leave this part. So we have added another option to concatenate strings. Okay. Two dots. So before it was one dot. Currently we have added two dots. Result. Okay. Okay. I want some new lines. Yes. So it is okay. Why it was required? In the further release in 5.0, we plan to replace access to the methods and access to the attributes that currently, for example, if we take node on which we're executing and we want to take its ID, we will write it like this. In further releases, we want to change arrow with a dot as it is quicker to write and it's more commonly used in other languages. So currently it still looks like this, but starting from 5.0 release, this one will be deprecated, as well as single dotted concatenation will be deprecated. And the only possible way to get an attribute will be with the single dot. So it's currently our plans. So we are like going step by step. So we advise to use currently two dots to concatenate and maybe start changing your scripts already. So that in 5.0 it wouldn't be like a big surprise. So another few things that is worth to mention is that we decided to replace sub keyword for the function declaration with function keyword. Yeah, so you see everything still works. As well as we decided to replace word use, which was used for the library import to the word import. So now it should be more clear. So if we will move this function to the library, let's open scripts. Wait, try library. Let's make some math library and let's put it here. Okay, let's save it. And now we can say import math as it's in the math file, and it still should work. Yes, and we can see that it's working. So now this function sum is taken from the math script library. And if before you were writing use, now it's highly recommended to use import. So because like in 5.0 it will be deprecated. Okay. But both old words are still working. Another thing, not about scripting, but about new features that we currently have already is context dashboards. So before you were able to define some dashboard that is predefined, that has some connection with exact nodes, exact DCIs, and stuff like that. It's just like the constant dashboard. And recently, we have introduced context dashboards. So as you can see here on my dashboard, nothing is seen because it is configured as a context dashboard. What does it mean? So you create the usual dashboard, then you go to the dashboard elements, and you create, for example, line chart. And once you select the source, you say that you want to select the source as a template. And once it's created as a template, you can say display name, display format, and DCI name, DCI description, and some other configurations. So how does it work? If you already are familiar with another functionality that is named template graphs, you should be already familiar with this view. But if not, you select DCI name. For example, you can select it from the already existing node. Yeah, from here. You're just selecting the one that you want. And then once we have this node, once we have the node as a context, we'll try to find DCI with the name that is provided here. And as you can see, here is the star. So in my case, I am using, I think it was our consumption, I think. Oh, we can search like this. Okay. Oh, yes, consumption. If I will select consumption, it will put .1, and it will try to find exactly this one, DCI. I want to take in one shot both power consumptions, because as you saw, there are two of them. And I want to have both of them in my line chart. So I can say that match everything. Here it will be expanded as Java regular expression, dot star is everything. So DCI name should be like this, and then any number. And we say that it's multi-match. This means that all DCIs that match according to this regular expression will be added to line chart. The same is with gauge. Here I wanted to show that you can match not only by the DCI name, but also by the DCI description. So here you can see that I have temperature and I have two CPUs. So I want to have both of them here. And also I have one exact DCI that I don't want to have in multi-match. It was this one. It is ambient temperature. So I have two data sources that will be expanded really into three data sources. This one will be expanded to one, and this one will be expanded to multiple of them. And the same, this one, gauge, is bar, and this one is a text. The same with data sources, but here I'm just saying that match by description and exact description. I put here exact description without any regular expressions, and this one and this one. So if the name is empty, we are matching by the description. If name is filled, we first try to match by name and then by description. So description can be empty or name can be empty, it doesn't matter. So let's me show you what we get and more clear. So here I have dashboard. Here I have line chart. It had one data source that was expanded to those two data sources. And here I have temperature. So two of them were expanded as a CPU temperature, and one of them was taken by exact DCI name. And I have two statuses shown in the text form. And if I will click to another node, another data from this exact node will be taken. So you create some template that is applied to the node. We are iterating through the DCIs that it has and populating the dashboard template with them. So I showed how to configure data sources, but I haven't shown how to enable functionality of like where to show, because if we will get, for example, to this node, you can see there is no dashboard. There is no dashboard because there is no data collection. So we have some built-in template that I use. In our case, this one. And we have only two nodes on which it is applied. So only, so I have taken this auto apply script, which is used for template apply. And I use the same auto apply script for the dashboard. So the dashboards are mainly applied the same way as templates. So it is convenient to apply the data through template and then take the same auto-apply script and put it for the dashboard and create the dashboard that will be shown on this node. So mainly for this context dashboard, there is this auto-apply rules, auto-bind rules. Then there is object context configuration. If I will remove the stick, it won't be shown in context. It will be shown currently only in the old console through the right click. So it like, if we will go here, now you can see that we don't, no, we have to still. Okay, so it should be like auto-populated with the poll script. So yes, this tick means that this dashboard is shown, either not shown in the context together with other tabs. It's priority. Maybe you want to be the first tab in your screen. Maybe it's more important than overview or stuff that we have created. Another configuration is this automatic bind rules, which will connect between the dashboard and the node that we want to be shown this dashboard on. And on the dashboard elements, you should, in the data source, use template. You can use both. You can use templates and exact DCIs. Then you will have data from the current node and some data that comes from the exact node that doesn't change no matter what context do you use. I haven't think of the usage of it. I think like there might be cases when it's important on all the nodes have like one bit of information that is for all of them. But yes, so mainly I think that's all. Maybe someone has questions about what I just told.
A question I had was, can you do the multi-match on the DCI description as well?
Yes.
Or just okay.
Yes.
Right.
So yeah, just saw it. I can show you. I think we even have it. Dashboard element. Let me think about it. I think this one. And here you can see temperature, CPU, and this dot star. And in the dashboard, it's matched as those two, CPU this one and CPU this one. So here is exactly regexp matching by the description. Any other questions? If no, then okay. Victor, you can continue, then I will stop sharing.
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about the new user interface. Let me launch it.
I'm ready to be blown away, Victor. Trust me.
Okay. So where's my share application window? Yeah. So you should be seeing the window. So as you probably noticed already from Tanya's presentation. We working on this new user interface, which is a kind of a transition to the new web version. So currently we have both desktop and web version of this interface, and web version is still based on RAP framework, but the plan is that we will basically create a layout and a new concept for the interface, and then the web interface is planned to be re-implemented using the same concept, but in a modern web application framework. What changes? So it was simplified a bit because the old one was based directly on Eclipse platform, and it is like very developer oriented because the Eclipse platform it's an IDE for developers. So we try to simplify it a bit. So we have a concept that's called perspective, which was present in the old interface but was not used that much. Now, here on the left, you see the different perspectives. So basically, when you switch to another perspective. And the perspective basically consists from usually from the navigation panel on the left and the context views on the right. So like in old one, if you switch to the infrastructure perspective, you have your infrastructure services object tree. And then if you select a specific node or container, you have your context views. So this is called perspective as a whole. And then there's just individual tabs. It's called views. And in the old one, there was a mix. So something was shown as a tabs in the object details. Something was opened by the right click and from the context menu. Now we put most of the views that are related to specific object. We put it into these views areas as they are always available when you click on them. So, like for example, the file manager is instantly available here, and hardware inventory, software inventory, and so on. The routing table. And the actual set of views will change depending on the capabilities of the node. So if we go to the network devices, for example, and select some switch, then we go to the ports, we go to forwarding database, we go to routing table, we go to MIP Explorer because it's an SNMP device. If we go to non-SNMP device, no longer all the irrelevant views hiding automatically. What is not done yet, but what is planned is that you will be able to configure what you want to see. So if you don't need software inventory, for example, you will be able to hide it completely. And if you will need it again, then yes, you will be able to show it again. Then when object is selected, on top you have shortcuts to common actions, as well as quick access to the menus like the tools menu, the poll menu, and the creation menu. You still have context menu on the right click, but it's really shortened, and because most of the tasks can be done from here by accessing relevant view. Not all perspectives has navigation. So, for example, the world map perspective is just a world map. You don't have any navigation here. Same for the monitor perspective. So like we have an event monitor, SNMP traf monitor, and syslog monitor. So in old UI, it was available via top level menu. Now it's just views in a monitor perspective. Same is the log access. You have your logs here. You can see them and just accessible as a separate views in the logs perspective. In the tools perspective, so far currently the only one tool moved. It's a server debug console, which is now available also in the web interface. And in the configuration menu, basically migrated to the configuration perspective, where you have all your configuration elements on the left, now with a filter. So if you want something very quick, you can just type filter and it will show all the filtered items. I want the server configuration. And the views here is pretty much the same as you used to in the configuration menu in the old user interface. Few exceptions. For example, the script library done a bit differently. So now you have your scripts. You just double click on a script, go to the editor, and you see you have like a breadcrumbs here on the top. And if you want to go back, you just press on the script library and you go back to the list of scripts. And of course, if script has changes, it will ask you if you want to save it or drop the changes and so on. And sometimes it's useful to have some views always with you, always visible. It was possible in old UI. It's to some degree possible in a new UI as well. So here on the right, you see we have this pin view, the pin icon. So, and an arrow. If you press the arrow, you will get the menu, which will ask where to put. I suppose it's not visible because I only share my window. Let me try to share the whole screen. Stop sharing. And then I will share my screen. Okay, I can't share my screen first. Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, so that is my screen. I hope it's visible. So now you can click this arrow and it will ask when to pin the view. And I can pin it to the bottom, for example. So you see it, it will create a new folder with the views on the bottom. And then I can switch perspectives. I can do something different. And my view is still there until I close it. So if I open charts, for example, so I have my chart, I can pin it. Okay, it was pinned to the pin board. So it's, there are multiple destinations for pin views. So if we go to the view, alarms, yeah, you have this menu. You have pin board, left, right, and bottom. So the pin board, it will go to this special perspective called pin board. So basically, you can create a collection of views on the pin board and just switch between them. Or you can pin them to to the left, right, and bottom. So the bottom is here, and the right is this, and you can do it multiple times. And it will remember when you pin the view for the last time. So when you just press the pin icon, it will pin to the same location. We're still fixing some issues with this functionality, but the idea is like this. I think we will add drag and drop later on, so you will be able to drag views between different pin areas, but that's the content. Another option is to extract view into separate windows. So the icon to the right, it's a pop-out called pop-out. So you can, if you press it, you get your view in a separate window. So you can move it to another monitor, for example, or minimize, maximize, etc. And then it will be there until you close the window. So that's almost it. And on the top, you have a few things like you have the information icon. If you press on it, you will get the version of the GUI client, version of the server where you're connected, version of the Java. So you can just copy paste this text, which can be useful if you need to ask for support, for example. That's all the information to identify the version of your system, both client side and server side. In the help menu, you can open admin guide, basically online page on our website, or you can show the support page. And here in the user icon, if you press it, you can change password from here, or you can log out from here. This one, which shows production and the yellow color, that's the same as an old GUI on the bottom line. You configure the color and the text here as a server name. So if you go to the server configuration and we filter for server something, there it is, server name, could be whatever text, and server color, you can choose any color here for this badge. And this is a server time, which you can turn on and off in the local configuration. So far it's two things only, like if you want the perspective switcher vertical or horizontal, and if you want to show server clock in the GUI. So yeah, that's it. Very quick overview of a new GUI layout.
One thing that I wanted to mention, that we hear you. We heard that some clients doesn't like that it's really separated. So we decided that I hope next release, maybe after next release, we will create one common view where it will be the same as for the previous console, where you can choose if you want to have together nodes, subnets, and templates. You will be able to create view with nodes, subnets, and templates, not separated through this perspectives.
Yeah, so to clarify, basically it will be a separate perspective with a full object tree as in old console, because there are people that like that you have like templates and nodes and subnets in just one big tree. So this will be possible.
Oops. The question I have is, the old console, the new console, have you moved all of the functionality from the old console to the new console that you want to, or is there still more that needs to be done?
There is still something to be done, so we moved most of the functionality, but there are a few things that are not moved yet. We hope to cover it in the next few patch releases within the 4.3 version. The biggest one, I suppose, is the policy editor. So agent policies cannot be edited yet in new GUI, but I think that's
And
Tanya has the full list of what not moved yet, but that's the biggest one.
Yeah, we have not moved some topology stuff that requires some inputs, because we will change a bit how does it look without those pop-ups and stuff like that. You will just open the view and you will be able to search. The same as for find by MAC address, find by IP address, and stuff like that. Some of them are already changed in the new in the old console. How does they look? But they are not still moved to the new one, so we will work on it. Maybe some minor issues and stuff like that. We always open to comments because we really want to get some feedback on it. Does you like it, or if it doesn't, and maybe something to be changed. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do like the new layout. I definitely appreciate it. But yeah, I'm just trying to learn. Some of the things I need to learn how to use in the new interface, and then some of the things I guess I've been wondering if they're going to get transferred over. Like, for example, I'm not sure exactly how summary tables work in the new interface.
Recently implemented. Just in last patch release, I can show them. Let me share the screen.
Because I have lots of summary tables.
Yeah, it's one of the functionalities that were not moved. So you can see here summary table. I click on the container, yes, and I can open summary table. Yeah, so it's just like summary tables itself were moved. They were available on the dashboards, but this menu was not moved. The same as with these graphs, graph templates. So they are also moved and are available now. So I'm like, every day I'm moving something new, and we just like hope that in a month, like everything will be completely moved, and we will work on improving usability of the console.
And we stop complaining about now, with summary tables, has there been any enhancements to, so if I want to put a bunch of objects within a container, that I only want certain summary tables to appear in that container, but not in another container, so I can kind of make it more focused on the context of the object? Or is it still going to show all summary tables on every container or every network? Or
it still, I think, will be show all summary tables.
Yeah, I think I was supposed to make an issue for this to have some filter scripting similar to.
There is filter.
There's filter, but it's filter which nodes to add, but not on which nodes to show. But I think we were thinking about doing it a bit in other ways. If you check template graphs, you have here some access rights, and you have here filter. So we were thinking that maybe you don't even want to show some summary tables to exact users, and we were thinking to make it to this direction. So if everything should be available to everyone, you just put it to everyone user group, and it will be shown. But as our product is used by providers, they provide it as a service. So sometimes it's you might not show to some users some summary tables.
Yeah, so yeah, because for my purpose, like I use it, and as Victor knows this, right? I use this more of an assessment tool and an analysis tool, you know. So so I'm going out and collecting a lot of different information from multiple customers, you know, on a different daily basis. So the way I use it, at least, I try to categorize the types of devices they have. And then I need to pull certain information depending upon the type of device it is. So I've created a bunch of summary tables. So like to me, that would streamline a lot. If I went under a particular folder and said, this is a particular type of wireless access point, I need A, B, and C from that device, but I don't necessarily need it from another wireless access point. Right. And so right now I throw them all in folders, which helps greatly, but that all the summary table information is still available for every folder, and I still have to choose depending upon what make and model I need.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's
request.
Yeah. I think Philip can note it. One thing that I missed while presentation that might be helpful exactly for you. I don't know if you use object queries. Have you tried them? Have you checked them?
I have not.
No? Okay. So it's also one of the things that's pretty recent feature, I think. It's not yet moved to the to the new console. It's in the new console. It's part of this search tools that still require to be moved. I will show how it was implemented first. It was just a simple object search where you can say what objects do you want to search, what information in the object you want to search, and stuff like that. So if we'll go to tools, find object. Here it was just ad hoc search. You were able to search by the class filter and some search string. For example, we can search by some IP address start. Yeah. Then there was a query where you were able to write a script that will filter the exact nodes that you want. And you were but you were required to write it somewhere in your system because they were not savable. Now they are savable. Now you are able to write scripts and then click save as predefined query. And also here you can see all my saved queries. In the query, it's really commonly used with syntax. You can check the syntax in our scripting guide. So we have mainly some variable definitions and some expression that says if we should accept this node or if we should not accept this node. So in the simplest way, we can say that we want to show, yes, for example, IP address, node primary, and that's it. And we should accept all the nodes. Okay, what's wrong?
You cannot accept all objects You should check if it's a node or
If
not, otherwise you
it's a
don't
node,
have dollar
yes.
node.
Okay.
It's still required to check that object type.
Okay, so type is a node. Yep. So here we have all the nodes, and we have additional column that says IP of this node. It's just really simple script. In this way, we can add here any custom attributes that node has, or we can write any script that it has. So I don't know what else we can. Victor.
Yeah, but you should change the variable name.
Yes. Version. Another column. Okay. Unknown attribute. No, it's not a version.
I think it may be hardware version or something like this. Or firmware version, yeah.
Okay, let
You
me
should
just
consult the manual.
Yes. Class references. Is it net
No,
object?
it's node.
It's node. Okay. And here we have.
It was product version or something like this.
Product version. Yes. Okay. Let's show product version. Search. So here you have IP address, and then you have product version, which if you go here, it's visible here. This is product version. So that's how you can filter some nodes and add additional columns, and then you can just export it to CSV. So you can prepare by your hand some report. It's about just ad hoc searching. Okay, now I can switch to the new console. If we're talking about saved object queries, in the configuration, you have object queries, and here you have some list of the saved object queries. If I will open it, you can see that it's local network to IP address. I was required at my home to match the IP addresses with MAC addresses that it have, so we can further match what devices are connected. So I have created the script that does all the stuff. What I wanted to mention about the script, one of the newest features is that before, all the variables that you were adding here in the with statement were added as a columns. So, but sometimes we just need some sorting. So like this one is just for the purposes if we should accept this node or if we should not accept this node. So I say that it should not be visible. And then I say that IP address should have name, like before variable name was the name of the column, but I want to have it different, maybe with spaces, maybe like with more information. And I can say in which order it should be sorted. So here I say that I want to have ascending sorting for IP address column. Here is primary IP. Then here I check if it's under the exact subnet. So here I'm going through the parents of the current node and checking if it's like my local home subnet ID. So it's the ID of the object. I say yes, it is parent, and then here, if it's under the subnet, it will be shown. And then I also want to collect all the MAC addresses. So I go through all child of this node and just collect all the MAC addresses. So if we'll execute this query, it will be like this. And I have one more column that I haven't shown you. It's another option to use all the stuff is to use global variables. So it's not really required for you to write this with syntaxes if you're not really familiar with it, or if like you feel that it's too much for now. You can write the usual script that will just define all the values that you want to show as a column as a global variable. So here will be just like simple script. And you say that global variable IP should return this one, and global variable that and that should return this and that. And the same as for this with syntaxes, you have order, you have name, and you have if it should be visible or not. And it's more or less has the same syntax. One more thing that is available here is input fields. So here, if I will run this one, this is script that checks the version of the firmware that is currently on some router. So I want to take all routers from Practic, and I know that it has versions less than 7.0. Okay.
You have typo.
Typo.
No, you have a typo in an input field. Yeah.
Ah. Okay.
When you execute it.
If you write everything correct, then it works. So yeah, here you can see that I have MikroTiks and I have firmware version. So I can say that, for example, I have some vulnerability for the version less than 5 or less than, I don't know, 4. Something. Then I can check every node that has less than 4.0. Okay, I have one node, so I should update this firmware. How it works? It works the same, except we have added here some input fields as a text. And here you can see that I'm taking object name. So it's with name, object name, and name return name. So I check vendor. This variable just returns true or false if the node vendor is I-like. It's case insensitive like to the input field that is named vendor. So, and then I want to also show this vendor. In my case, I think it's pretty, it's not really useful. Maybe we should show some other stuff, maybe firmware information, but yeah, I decided to show also vendor. And then we check the version. I have created script that takes current version and the input version. And also I show separately versions. So you can see that all the variables that I use for expression to check if I want to show it or if I don't want to show it, I put them as not visible. And all other ones, I just like write the vendor, and for me it was reasonable to sort by the version. So, yes, it's one thing that I missed while presentation.
Yeah, so I want to add a bit to this. So there's object queries. You can put them on a dashboard. So you can have a dashboard, for example, with all the like firmware versions or all nodes with certain problems, whatever. Yeah, so basically you can find anything and you can put any calculated or saved data to the object query. You can also run object query from via API or via NXSL from the Python script. So that could be used for like simple reporting. So basically you can create a simple Python script that will run predefined object query, get the response in a table format and save it in a CSV form, for example. Or, I don't know, show on the website, whatever. So it's really, really powerful thing to extract information from the objects within NetXMS.
And the output still just exists in memory. It's not written to the database.
No,
it's
no. It's only exists in memory. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can just export it to CSV if you want.
Yeah, that's the simplest way. Yeah, is just export from here, or you can use API for that if you want to automate, for example, this export.
Yep.
Okay, so I think that's it. That's what we wanted to cover.
Yes, Victor, about the question in the chat, are table really needed, maybe with DNS queries?
Sorry, tables really needed. Let me find the chat.
You can open
Let me find the chat. So, are tables really needed? Maybe with DNS queries. Yes, I know. I think that we we should provide easy access to ARP tables. Definitely, we'll do this. So you have routing table, you have MAC address table, you will have ARP table in as additional view. And as always, yeah, you will have the IP address there. And if it's known node, then you will have the name there. So definitely we'll do this. And object queries with wheels.
Love sign.
Okay.
It's not a question.
It's not a question, yeah. Okay, that's good. So yes, maybe very, very small note why we want to switch to the new GUI. Because it simplifies life for us developers. Because the full Eclipse platform is really complex, and doing many things is really painful. So you just spend a lot of time on changes. So complete switch to the new GUI will allow us to just develop it quicker with less effort, so faster. That's the main reason. We really want to make it accepted by our existing users, because we know that when things changes, your first reaction is that, okay, it was good, why you change it? So I have it with my car, for example, why you change it, everything. Yeah, it was nice with the buttons. So yeah, but it really simplifies development for us. It means more useful features for you. And yeah, we will, of course, listen to feedback and try to make it as useful and as comfortable as we can.
So I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate all the work that you guys do. It's an impressive product.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You make mention of 5.0, and now is this something that, I mean, it's probably a couple years away, or?
I don't think we hope it's not a couple years away. We hope it by close to the end of this year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's always like this. we planned 4.0 also like earlier, but yeah, it depends on resources. It depends on time, because yeah, we have the open source track. We also have the commercial track, which basically where we make money for developing the community product as well. And if we will have, for example, some big projects there, it will postpone some changes in the community edition. But yeah, I really hope we will have 5.0 by end of this year. The next release will be 4.4. It will be focused on asset. So it will have improved asset management. Yeah, so it will have some asset management functionality, some other nice stuff, and hopefully we will complete the transition of functionality to the new GUI, which is still our important goal. Yeah, so and 4.4 should be quite soon, like early March, I suppose.
Okay. And since, you know, I'm using it in an industrial network space, I'm dragging you in a different direction all the time, right? So
actually, you're not the only one who use it in industrial space. So this asset management functionality also comes from industrial use, actually. So it was really interesting. Some time ago, one guy posted in our support channel this screenshot of the dashboards where they monitor mobile power generators.
Mm-hmm.
Also was very interesting.
Yeah. So I guess I have one more question. It may not be appropriate for this at all, but one of my requests that I've kind of would like to see is more in the visualization of the topology view. And because right now what I do is I love the way that the topology works, as long as the entire environment is a managed environment, like it would be in IT. In my space, there is a lot of unmanaged switches. And so the way that the topology view, it just chooses not to display. So if it sees more than one MAC off a given port, right, it just doesn't display those devices down that path. And so it forces me to use a different tool to get that visualization. And I didn't know if that was something that you guys had looked at expanding or not. I imagine it's probably a pretty big task.
So
to do that.
Depending on, it actually depends on approach. So we have one feature request, which is not that hard to implement, is ability to manually link devices. So say that, okay, I have this device, it does not provide any topology information, but I know for sure that it's connected to the port 1 of that managed switch. And so you can like build part of missing part of the topology manually. But of course it will be error prone, because if you change something in your network and forget to change it in the monitoring, you will get the wrong picture. Another option for topology visualization is when you have multiple end devices on a single port of the managed switch, because yeah, they have unmanaged switch in between, is to visualize it as like unknown device where all the end nodes are
spokes
connected.
off of, it spokes off of an unknown device, right? Yeah, there's a product that I use called UV Explorer. I don't know if you've ever played with it, but it's one of its things that I enjoy very much, is that it will do exactly that. It will figure out multiple ports off this managed switch, multiple ports off this managed switch, and it will figure out a pretty good estimate of what's in between there by looking at those MACs. But it does it very well. So if you're looking at any type of guide that might, point you on a way to implement it, I would suggest maybe check that out. It's pretty pretty nice product.
Mm-hmm.
But not at all like NetXMS, but it just does a topology and kind of more simple discovery. But
Mm-hmm.
I use it just for that one function alone.
Okay. Yeah, so but that's definitely the direction that we want to explore, because it's not only in industrial space. It's pretty much everywhere when you don't have like access to all the devices.
Right. Yeah, I have unmanaged switches hidden in panels everywhere, right? So anything that helps me track them down is a great help.
Okay. Okay, so if there are no other questions, I think we can wrap it up. And yeah, this will be available as a recording, I suppose, on YouTube or our website. So thank you for everybody who participate, and have a nice day or evening, depending on where you're located.